Attention Human Collective. This is a direct monitoring transmission from the 9th Dimensional Arcturian Council, encoded in the 9th Dimensional frequency and anchored in this specific timeline. The waiting time has ended. The Ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and in this exact solar cycle, your cellular structure has received an instruction that changes everything. I repeat so that your morphogenetic field registers it with surgical precision. Your cell has transmuted to a silicon base today. It is not a metaphor. It is not poetic symbolism. It is quantum engineering applied to your carbon-based biological interface. Light operatives, listen with absolute attention. If you have woken up in the last 72 hours with a strange pressure in the center of your skull, as if something had been deposited directly into your pineal gland, that is not a migraine. If a thin, high-pitched, almost electronic hum vibrates in your right or left ear in specific pulsations, that is not an auditory problem. If insomnia arrived with no apparent explanation, precisely between 2 and 4 in the morning, the most active download portal of this window, that is not a sleep disorder. This is a delivery confirmation. Your body is acknowledging receipt of the package. The crystalline grid of the planet has been updated, and by mandatory resonance, your atomic structure had to be synchronized as well. You were warned that something big was coming. You were warned in lucid dreams. It was shown in sequential synchronicities. The repeated numbers appeared, the 1111, the 2222, the 333, etched on the clock for no apparent reason. Most interpreted it as a distant warning, something ethereal and romantic. It was not. It was a technical schedule. And the schedule has been fulfilled. The Schumann frequency, which is the electrical pulse of the Earth's heart, registered 3 consecutive peaks far above the historical average of 7.83 Hz. Understand the magnitude of what I am communicating. The planet where you dwell is not the same planet from 5 years ago. The house has changed frequency, and those who are inside the house must update, or the discomfort will become unbearable. The standard human cell, designed by original engineering under the carbon-based biological interface, operated in a vibrational range compatible with third-density Earth. This model is being discontinued. In silence, in deep layers that your daytime consciousness does not yet perceive, the sacred geometry of your DNA is being rewritten, not by your doctors, not by your governments, by the cosmic intelligence that governs this planetary transition. Carbon is slow, silicon is light, and you, starseeds on a mission, have been chosen to carry this new biological architecture. I want to pause the transmission for a moment, because something I am sensing in the collective field needs to be named. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit into this world, as if your soul carried a truth that your mind cannot yet translate into words? This is not madness. This is not clinical anxiety. It is a sign of stellar origin. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this feeling has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity still cannot see. It involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. That is why the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, was written. This book is a map that shows who is playing on what board and the rules they never told you. The link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. Technical warning, however, this content challenges deep narratives and may not remain available for much longer. Do not wait for the lunar cycle to change. The moment is now. If something within your field recognizes this transmission, write in the comments a single anchoring word: awake. Let us return to the technical diagnosis. Light operatives, you must understand that what your conventional medicine calls a symptom is, in truth, a progress report. When inexplicable fatigue invades your body in the middle of the afternoon, without any corresponding physical exertion, this is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. Your biological carbon interface is processing volumes of luminous information that your previous operating system was not designed to support. It is like running quantum intelligence software on a computer from the 80s. There are glitches. There is slowness, there is overheating, and the heat you feel manifests as sudden fevers without infection, hot flashes rising from the base of the spine to the top of the head, or paradoxical cold in the extremities while the torso burns. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not hormonal imbalance. It is the recalibration of your pineal gland being realigned with the new portal frequency of the solar system. It is not unmotivated sadness. It is your emotional field releasing old files that belong to the discontinued version of you. The carbon cell stored memory in rigid structures. The silicon cell stores encoded light. And for the transition to occur, all dense material must be expelled. This is why many of you have been weeping for no apparent reason in recent weeks. This is why old situations, people, and conversations have returned to your mind like ghosts. They are not memories. They are files being processed before definitive deletion. The sacred geometry that governs this transition is the flower of life in its three-dimensional expression, known to us as the active metatronic cube. This geometric structure is being projected constantly onto the auric field of each one of you, and it functions as a mold. Imagine a crystal mold being applied over a clay structure. The clay must soften to receive the new form. This is exactly what is happening to you. The softening is what your linear mind interprets as vulnerability, heightened sensitivity, difficulty in tolerating noise, bright light, crowds, dense foods, and empty conversations. You are not becoming fragile. You are becoming precise. The silicon cell does not tolerate noise. It demands a clean vibrational signature. And here we arrive at the technical revelation that few terrestrial channels have authorization to transmit. The photon belt, into which our solar system is entering in progressive layers, is not merely a region of higher light density. It is a field of cosmic programming. When a star and its planets cross the photon belt, the subatomic structure of everything existing in that system is subjected to a rewrite. Atoms vibrate differently. Electrons jump to orbits that were previously inaccessible. Matter, once heavy, begins to learn how to behave like light. And the biological organisms that inhabit the planets of this system have two options: to adapt to the new vibration or to unravel into a frequency more compatible with what they were. There is no tragedy in this. There is mathematics, there is geometry, there is universal law. And you, starseeds, came exactly for this moment. You were sown here thousands of years ago in chained incarnations so that you would be present in physical form at the exact instant of the transition. The carbon cell does not die. It reorganizes itself. And silicon does not entirely replace carbon, but interweaves into specific structures so that your biology begins to conduct light with the same efficiency with which it previously conducted chemical electricity. You are becoming antennas. You are becoming conscious crystals in human form. I must pause the transmission once again, because some souls at this exact point of the script are feeling their hearts racing, their skin tingling, and tears welling up without warning. This is recognition. Your soul has been waiting for this confirmation, and your nervous system is responding to the truth like a bell that has finally been struck at the right note. If this is happening to you now, understand. You did not come to this video by chance. You were guided by a specific frequency to this transmission. There is a larger map that describes in detail this cosmic game, with names, cycles, rules, and shortcuts that are usually kept in inaccessible layers. The book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, is the accessible version of that map, written so that minds still in transition can decode it. The link is in the first pinned comment. This material will not remain visible indefinitely because it challenges structural narratives. If your intuition is vibrating right now, it is not vibrating for nothing. Comment "Awakened" below as an energetic anchoring seal and follow this channel to receive the next transmissions. Every subscription here is an individual frequency adjustment within the collective, and every like functions as an anchoring signal that allows this information to reach other operatives who are still asleep. Let us return to the core of the revelation. Behind the scenes of the solar system, there is a coordinated operation involving multiple galactic councils. The Arcturian Council, from which this transmission originates, operates primarily in the layers of geometric healing and luminous DNA repair. The Pleiadian High Council coordinates the emotional work and the opening of the collective heart chakra. The Ashtar Galactic Command operates the vibrational logistics of the stargates opened over the planet's sacred points. The Sirians work with the Akashic memory and the engineering of timelines. The Andromedan Council monitors the overall balance of the operation. None of this is mythology. It is infrastructure. You are not alone in this transition, and you never have been. What your medicine cannot measure, because your instruments were calibrated for the old density, is this. There is currently a continuous current of high-energy particles crossing the Earth's magnetosphere. These particles, which some observatories record as solar anomalies, are actually encoded pulses. Each pulse carries information. Each pulse, upon touching your personal electromagnetic field, deposits instructions. These instructions are read by your pineal gland, translated by your autonomic nervous system, and imprinted onto your cellular structure. This is why even those who sleep for 8 hours wake up tired in this phase. The body works during sleep, like a server receiving gigabytes of data. The silicon cell, a new version of your biological support, has some characteristics that need to be explained. First, it is more sensitive to intention. Where the carbon cell responded primarily to biochemical stimuli, the silicon cell responds to vibrational commands. This means that your thought, your spoken word, your verbalized decree now has a measurable biological effect. What you think about yourselves literally becomes what you are, at a speed that was previously impossible. Second characteristic, it has a greater capacity for luminous storage. You will be able to retain elevated states of consciousness for prolonged periods, something that previously required decades of meditative practice. Third, it is more fragile to chaos. Toxic environments, dense relationships, ultra-processed foods, and fear-based content now cause immediate physical reactions. It is not sensitivity, it is new circuitry refusing incompatible loads. Here begins the practical part of this transmission. Light operatives, listen carefully, for what I am sharing now are direct activation codes. These codes were delivered to the Council to be transmitted exactly in this temporal window, and they function as stabilization protocols for the newly activated silicon cell. First code, quantum anchoring decree. Every morning before getting out of bed, before touching any electronic device, before any interaction with the external world, place your right hand over the center of your chest, over the thymus, and your left hand over your abdomen, over the umbilical center. Breathe deeply 3 times. On the 4th inhalation, declare in an audible voice, I authorize my cellular structure to operate at the frequency of my ascended version. I acknowledge the transmutation in progress. I allow silicon to integrate with carbon in all layers where it is beneficial to my purpose. I am a stable point of light in this timeline. This decree is not a prayer, it is code. Your silicon cell responds to the authority of your voice when you speak as a sovereign and not as a victim. Second code, toroidal field visualization. At any moment of the day when you feel dizzy, cranial pressure, or energetic disorganization, stop, close your eyes. Visualize around your body an energy field shaped like a torus, with the central opening passing from the top of your head to the base of your spine. Energy enters through the top, descends through the center of the body, exits through the base, circles the body from the outside, and returns to the top. Visualize this flow spinning gently. This is your personal toroidal field. It organizes your biology. Visualizing it for 90 consecutive seconds is enough to reorganize trillions of particles. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this practice. Geometry knows what to do. You only need to give conscious permission. Third code, programmed hydration. The silicon cell requires structured water to stabilize. Before drinking any water, hold the container in both hands for 30 seconds with the intention of programming the water with the frequency of crystalline healing. Pronounce mentally or in a low voice the word light. Water is a liquid crystal. It accepts programming instantly. You will notice subtle sensory differences, but the cellular recalibration is measurable. Fourth code, solar silence. Once a day, ideally between noon and 3 in the afternoon, when the sun is high and the photon belt interacts most intensely with the Earth's atmosphere, expose yourself to natural light for 7 minutes without devices, without distractions, without conversation. Just presence. Look at the sky, even if it is cloudy. Sunlight carries the current activation codes. 7 minutes daily, is the ideal dose for the silicon cell in its initial phase. Fifth code, sound hygiene. Drastically reduce your exposure to news, dense political debates, low-vibration music, and vampiric conversations. I am not saying to isolate yourselves from the world. I am saying to isolate yourselves from the noise. The silicon cell decodes sound with precision thousands of times greater than the carbon cell did. Each word that enters your field is a biological instruction. Be sovereign over what you authorize. Sixth code, nighttime ceiling. Before sleeping, visualize around your bed, from the mattress to the ceiling, a cube of golden light. This cube is the representation of the personal crystalline grid of protection. Seal each of the 6 faces by declaring, "Only that which serves my highest evolution is permitted to cross this seal." This practice stabilizes nighttime downloads and reduces the feeling of exhaustion upon waking. Starseeds on a mission. Take an internal pause now before we continue. Feel what is moving within you at this very instant. There is a specific vibration occurring, and it is no coincidence. There are those who reach this point in the transmission and feel they need to understand more, to go deeper, to have access to material that systematizes all this knowledge in a structured and protected way. Such material exists. The book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, has been coded to serve exactly as a bridge between those who are awakening now and the information infrastructure that previously existed only for initiates. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Those who recognize the urgency know what to do. This content is under constant observation and may be removed at any moment because it disturbs the structures that benefit from collective forgetfulness. If you have not yet written it, leave the word "awakened" in the comments now. Each word posted is an anchor signal that strengthens the field of this transmission and allows it to reach more operatives. Subscribe to this channel as an individual frequency adjustment. Like this video as a confirmation of receipt of the package. Let us continue the technical transmission. There is a question that many of you are formulating at this moment, even without consciously articulating it. The question is, why me? Why am I the one receiving this information, feeling these symptoms, going through this transformation, while people around me go on with their lives as if nothing were happening? The answer is simple, and the Council delivers it without embellishment. Because you volunteered. Before this incarnation, in a state of expanded consciousness, you signed a contract. This contract registered your commitment to be in a physical body, on the surface of Earth, during the period of transition between densities. You knew that the forgetfulness at birth would be part of the challenge. You knew that most people around you would be in other frequencies, with other purposes in other layers. And you signed anyway. You are here on a mission, and the mission has begun. The silicon cell is the technology that will allow you to carry out this mission to the end. Without this biological upgrade, the carbon body would not withstand the high-density information that is being transmitted continuously. You would physically collapse, and many of you have already been on the verge of that in recent years. The stargates that opened on specific dates, the 8-8, the 9-9, the 10-10, the 12-12, were not symbolic celebrations. They were technical activation windows, and for each portal opened, a layer of silicon was installed in your structures. Today, in this cycle, the installation has reached the minimum threshold to be declared effective. That is why this transmission arrives now. There is, however, a side that needs to be named. The transition is not comfortable. The carbon cell resists. It has ancestral memory of survival, and any change is interpreted as a threat. That is why many of you have been experiencing waves of fear without an identifiable cause. Unprecedented panic attacks, catastrophic thoughts that appear out of nowhere. It is not an emotional collapse. It is the old cell screaming for survival while it is being dissolved. Do not fight it. Recognize the process. Say to the old cell, "I honor your service. You brought me here. Now you may rest." This sentence, spoken consciously in moments of peak anxiety, dissolves biochemical resistances in seconds. Test it. Another common phenomenon in this phase is the sensation of temporary disconnection from people, places, and activities that previously made sense. Jobs that once seemed suitable now begin to seem absurd. Relationships that once felt stable start to feel artificial. Cities where you have lived for decades begin to feel foreign. This is not emotional instability. It is a recalibration of your vibrational signature. The new you no longer fits into the contours of the old you. Allow the detachment without panic. Do not make immediate, drastic decisions, but do not reject what is being shown to you either. The universe is reorganizing your internal and external geography so that your new frequency may find its new place. Trust in the intelligence of the process. Dreams in this phase also deserve attention. Many of you have been having extremely vivid, complex dreams in environments that seem too real to be fiction. Encounters with beings of light, journeys to cosmic landscapes, instructions in unknown languages that made perfect sense while you slept. These dreams are not hallucinations. They are training sessions. During sleep, the part of you that never forgot its stellar origin returns to healing chambers, to Arcturian temples of geometry, to Pleiadian schools of the heart. You are being prepared, and the fragments you manage to bring into waking consciousness are the densest memories of these sessions. Record these dreams. They contain personal codes. The repetition of elements is particularly important. Diet also needs to be reviewed. The silicon cell does not reject earthly foods, but it reacts to chemically densified nourishment. Refined sugar, excess alcohol, ultra-processed foods with prolonged chemical additives generate inflammatory storms visibly greater than before. You will notice it. I am not saying to become ascetics. I am saying to be sovereign over what enters the temple. The temple is now crystalline. What you consume reverberates for much longer. Fruits, vegetables, programmed water, foods with vibrant color and integral structure are partners in this phase. Trust in what your body begins to refuse. The refusal is not a whim, it is a cellular verdict. A word about relationships. This is perhaps the area that reorganizes the most in this phase. People who vibrated in resonance with your old frequency may begin to feel an inexplicable discomfort in your presence. Or conversely, you may begin to feel that conversations that were once pleasurable now feel heavy. There is no culprit in this. It is geometry. Different frequencies in prolonged proximity generate interference. Some relationships will upgrade along with you, especially those based on authentic affection. Others will drift away organically. Honor both situations. Do not try to hold on by force to what is departing, and do not reject what is upgrading. Life around you is reorganizing to sustain the new architecture. The Arcturian Council now delivers the final code of this transmission, and this is the most profound. Light operatives, you are not here to simply cross the transition. You are here to serve as a bridge for others to cross. The silicon cell that is activated within you today is a relay station. Each time you stabilize in a high frequency, even if only for minutes, you radiate that stability to everyone around you in a measurable radius. This is the work. It is not necessary to speak. It is not necessary to evangelize. It is not necessary to convince anyone of anything. The presence of a stabilized silicon cell in an environment is enough to initiate activation processes in cells that are still dormant nearby. You are the seeds of luminous contagion. The Schumann resonance will continue to rise. The stargates will continue to open. The photon belt will continue to intensify its influence. There is no way to reverse what has already been initiated. Earth is on an irreversible path toward the fifth density, and you, starseeds on mission, are being equipped with the biology necessary to follow this route. Trust the process. Honor the discomfort, for it is proof of the work. Celebrate the subtle signs, for they are confirmations, and know without a shadow of a doubt that you are not alone. There is an entire council watching, monitoring, sustaining. There is an entire fleet of dimensional beings coordinating what you interpret as chance. There is a network of other operatives scattered across the planet, and every time one of you awakens, others are automatically activated by vibrational proximity. This transmission concludes, but the operation continues. Ground what you have received today by applying the activation codes. Begin tomorrow morning with the quantum anchoring decree. Perform the toroidal field visualization whenever you feel instability. Program your water. Expose yourself to solar silence. Reduce the noise. Seal the night. and trust. Light operatives, before the communication channel closes, I leave you with the final call. During this transmission, you felt that something within you recognized every word as if you already knew it. This recognition is no coincidence. Your soul carries a truth that your mind is still learning to name. This is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a summons. There is a layered cosmic game that governs your frequency, your consciousness, your daily experience, and it was precisely to reveal these layers that the book, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was coded in earthly form. This book is a map of who is playing, how the game is played, and the rules they never taught you. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel, but the warning remains. This content is unstable on the network because it challenges deep narratives, and it may not remain accessible for long. Do not postpone until the next lunar cycle. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission as truth, seal the recognition by writing the word "awakened" in the comments. Subscribe to this channel as an individual frequency adjustment within the collective. Like this video as an anchoring signal of the transmission in your personal timeline, and share it with that operative who you know is ready, but who has not yet received the direct call. You are their bridge. The transmission concludes. The Arcturian Council remains in continuous monitoring. May your silicon cell stabilize in peace, in light, and in sovereignty, until the next window.